Back in studio with us, time for Taking You Home, sir. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, sir.
All right, question, and this is going to be coming from me. This is going to sound really silly. What makes a hot market?
Yeah, so I've given, in this, I am by no means a professional economist or anything, but from my layman's view, I kind of came up with 5 criteria that if all are, and each of them are their own spectrum on themselves,
Okay.
but if each of them are blazing hot, would contribute to a hot real estate market,
Okay.
right? So the first one, and this one's fairly straightforward, is strong employment.
Okay.
If you have an area that has what I would say a diverse technology jobs, medical jobs, high-paying wages, is also going to be beneficial for, they're going to get landscaping done,
Sure.
They're going to buy cars, they're going to buy boats, marinas are going to benefit.
Yep.
All of the ancillary businesses is going to create to a healthy job market in an area.
Now, some areas of Minnesota have this little bubble around them, right?
Yep.
I think back to my days when I was working and living in Rochester.
Yeah.
The economy could go in the tank, but nothing happened there.
Well, because you're referring to Mayo.
IBM used to be, all that stuff was there. And is that kind of what you're talking
That's
about?
a perfect example when I said medical and technology.
Sure.
You've got a broad, diverse, high-paying jobs that will then filter down to those technology jobs or medical
Support.
jobs. Will fund the entire community. And
Yeah.
so when those two, when IBM's thriving and Mayo's thriving, that's going to contribute.
Yep.
Everyone's wages are going to be impacted to the positive.
Yeah, the
right?
people that make all the stuff that they use in the hospital, the people that make all the computer cabinets, they've all got to work somewhere. They got to buy groceries.
Yep.
They got to improve their house. All that stuff really adds. And I don't know if everybody really stops to think, other than realtors, what really goes into making something a hot market like this.
Yeah. So the first is strong employment wages.
Right.
The second, what I would call balanced inventory across all price points. So what I mean by that is if you have entry level, let's just say 250 and under, and then move up buyers between 250, 500, higher end 750 to $1 million. If you have a relatively balanced market across all of those,
Yeah.
if you think of it like a food pyramid or a food chain, the people that are moving out of an apartment into the entry level are then that they buy an entry level home. That seller's then going to be able to move up.
Right.
That seller at 500 is then going to be able to move up again. It's
Right.
health. So if there's a healthy, balanced market across all price points,
Right.
that's going to help contribute to a market that's on fire.
So it seems to me, and I've been around for a while, and there are ebbs and flows and all of that kind of stuff always in the markets. But it seems to me that when that entry level home is affordable, or it seems to me that there are always the lenders always come up with a way to make it work.
Sure.
Right? To keep that cycle moving. Is that real? Is that
Absolutely.
artificial?
So if you choke off one of those different,
Yeah.
back to my analogy of the food pyramid or the
Sure.
spectrum, if you take away one of those price points
Yeah.
and say there's no supply, that's going to choke off the entire system. So the
Gotcha.
earlier on you remove that, so entry level, if there's no entry level, that's going to impact everyone up higher on that food chain and it's going to impact the market. So it's really incumbent on a hot market to have a healthy supply of entry-level
Gotcha.
homes. That benefits the whole continuum of people.
Okay, now we all recall how many years ago was it that rates just bottomed out,
Yep.
right? That was a frenzy. We talk about time on the market, it became...
Interest rates.
Interest rates,
Yep.
yeah. We talk about time on the market being important and inventory and that kind of stuff, but I mean, literally, houses would be on the market for an hour back then, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. So the third point that I have on what makes a hot market is what I would call a dramatic drop in interest rates. So it's not even the same as if there's a quarter point drop here every 6 months. It's if there's a sudden shift in market rates to the negative, to dropping,
Yeah.
that's going to spur a tremendous amount of activity. And I'll give you an example on the converse. What was it, 3 or 4 years ago in the summer when interest rates were in the low 3.5 and they jump to 6
Yeah.
in a matter of 30 to 45
Boy,
days.
that faucet got turned off, didn't it?
It's when there's a shock to the system where everything's now dramatically more expensive
Yeah.
than it was just a short time ago. In the converse, if things become, because of interest rates, dramatically more affordable because of a quick shift in interest rates, that's going to spur a ton of activity at all price points. So obviously any interest rate change drop is going to be a positive. The more the higher the interest rate cut and in a shorter amount of time is going to be even more impactful
Exactly.
to the amount of buyer activity.
Okay, so I got a 3% interest rate or 2.5% or whatever, and I'm in this ginormous, huge house that may be too much house for me, even at 3 or whatever.
But you may
because
not want to give up that interest rate.
exactly right. But the value of that, in other words, what I had to pay, even though my interest rate was down, the value of that house kind of, increased a little
Sure.
bit. I'm still able to make that payment, I hope, because, you and I were talking about this before we went on the air. There have been some times when people probably should not have been qualified for that home, huh?
Yeah, and that happens, unfortunately, here and there. But what I would say is, to your example, if someone's in that 3.5% interest rate and the value's gone up,
Yep.
even if they want to take out some of that equity and buy something cheaper, because of interest rates, their payment's still going to be roughly the same or more.
Yep.
So again, it creates a bottleneck of people being stagnant in the market and kind of cuts off that flow of people listing their homes, selling, and moving up.
You bet. Now, Brennan Johnson in studio with us. It's Taking You Home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. We're talking about what makes a hot market. Unfortunately, we're going to have to table this conversation for 1 week. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
We're going to come back next week and talk about favorable competing costs. Going to talk about personal economic stability as well, and a lot more. Brendan, how do we work with you at Voigt Johnson?
320-774-2400 or online at VoigtJohnson.com.
Brendan, thank you.
Thank you, sir.